It was the winter of 1990, and the world was on the brink of a new era of warfare. The once mighty Soviet Union was crumbling, and the United States, now the sole superpower, was facing a new challenge from a familiar foe, Saddam Hussein's Iraq. The Iraqi dictator's invasion of Kuwait on August 2, 1990, had sent shockwaves throughout the Middle East, and the international community was scrambling to respond. For the United States, the stakes were high: the stability of the region, the security of its allies, and the flow of oil from the Persian Gulf all hung in the balance. As the United Nations imposed economic sanctions and demanded Iraq's withdrawal, the U.S. military began to mobilize for a potential war. The stage was set for a conflict that would showcase the latest advancements in military technology, from precision-guided munitions to advanced radar systems, and pit the world's most powerful air force against a formidable foe. As the clock ticked down to the January 15, 1991, deadline for Iraq's withdrawal, the U.S. Air Force was busy deploying its assets to the region. F-15 Eagles, F-16 Fighting Falcons, and A-10 Thunderbolt IIs were among the aircraft streaming into bases in Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states, while B-52 Stratofortresses and B-1B Lancers stood ready to launch from their bases in the United States. The air campaign that was about to unfold would be a test of the U.S. military's ability to wage war in the modern era, with all its attendant complexities and challenges. What would be the outcome of this high-stakes gamble, and how would the world be changed by the events that were about to unfold? As the deadline loomed, the U.S. Air Force's strategic planners worked tirelessly to develop a comprehensive air campaign strategy, one that would capitalize on the advances in technology and doctrine that had been made since the Vietnam War. The plan, dubbed Instant Thunder, envisioned a multi-phased assault that would systematically dismantle Iraq's military capabilities, crippling its command and control structures, destroying its air defenses, and ultimately paving the way for a ground invasion. At the heart of this strategy lay the F-117 Nighthawk, the world's first operational stealth fighter, whose radar-absorbing design and precision-guided munitions made it the perfect platform for the most high-risk missions. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy's Carrier Air Wings, embarked aboard the USS John F. Kennedy and the USS America, prepared to launch their own strikes from the Red Sea, utilizing the F-14 Tomcat and the A-6 Intruder to devastating effect. As the air assets took position, the U.S. military's air power doctrine, developed in the aftermath of Vietnam, would be put to the test. The emphasis on precision, speed, and flexibility, coupled with the integration of advanced technologies, would be the keys to unlocking the Iraqi military's defenses, but would they be enough to guarantee success? The world watched anxiously as the clock ticked down, the outcome hanging precariously in the balance. With the deadline mere hours away, the question on everyone's mind was, would Saddam Hussein blink, or would the world be plunged into war? As the hours ticked by, the air campaign's tempo accelerated, with wave after wave of coalition aircraft pouring into Iraqi airspace, their targets carefully selected to dismantle Saddam's military machine piece by piece. The F-117 Nighthawks, those ghostly apparitions, slipped undetected past Iraqi radar stations, their precision-guided bombs homing in on command centers, airfields, and key infrastructure nodes, crippling the enemy's ability to respond. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy's Tomcats and Intruders, launched from the USS John F. Kennedy and the USS America, swarmed over the skies, their missiles and bombs raining down on Iraqi air defenses, naval bases, and troop concentrations. The Iraqi military, caught off guard by the ferocity and precision of the coalition's air assault, stumbled in disarray, its communications network severed, its command structure shattered. As the night wore on, the skies above Iraq grew thick with the contrails of coalition aircraft, their afterburners glowing like fireflies in the darkness, as they executed a carefully choreographed dance of destruction, each sortie building upon the last, grinding down the Iraqi war machine with relentless efficiency. Yet, despite the mounting intensity of the air campaign, the question still lingered: would the Iraqi military collapse under the weight of the coalition's air power, or would it find a way to adapt, to counterattack, and to turn the tide of the war? As the first night of the air campaign gave way to a fiery dawn, the full fury of the coalition's air power was unleashed upon the Iraqi military, its defenses now reeling under the relentless onslaught of precision-guided munitions and conventional bombs. The skies above Baghdad and Kuwait City became a maelstrom of steel and fire, as wave after wave of coalition aircraft, F-15 Eagles, F-16 Fighting Falcons, A-10 Thunderbolt IIs, and British Tornado GR-1s, screamed towards their targets, their payloads detonating with deadly precision, ripping apart Iraqi command bunkers, troop barracks, and air defense sites. The very fabric of the Iraqi war machine was beginning to unravel, its threads snapping under the strain of the coalition's air assault, as the enemy's ability to communicate, to coordinate, and to respond effectively was systematically dismantled. Amidst the chaos and destruction, the Iraqi Air Force, once a formidable foe, was all but grounded, its aircraft either destroyed on the runways or forced to flee to distant airfields, where they would be hunted down by coalition fighters. The coalition's mastery of the skies was now complete, its dominance unchallenged. As the Iraqi military stumbled blindly into the abyss, its fate all but sealed. Yet, even as the coalition's air power reached its zenith, a new challenge emerged, the Iraqi Scud missile threat, a menace that would soon test the coalition's defenses and push its air power to the very limits of its capabilities. As the coalition's air campaign entered its final stages, the Iraqi Scud missile threat emerged as a formidable challenge, a constant reminder that even in the face of overwhelming air power, the enemy still possessed the capability to strike back with deadly precision. Launched from hidden sites deep within Iraq's western deserts, these Soviet-built ballistic missiles arced across the skies, their trajectories unpredictable, their warheads packing a devastating punch. For the coalition, the Scud threat posed a daunting dilemma: how to neutralize this menace without diverting precious air assets from the ongoing campaign to dismantle the Iraqi war machine. The solution lay in a combination of air power and advanced technology, as coalition aircraft, armed with precision-guided munitions and equipped with state-of-the-art sensors, set out to hunt down and destroy the elusive Scud launchers. F-15E Strike Eagles, A-10 Thunderbolt IIs, and British Tornado GR-1s scoured the desert skies, their pilots relying on real-time intelligence feeds and expert analysis to pinpoint the launch sites, their bombs and missiles striking with deadly accuracy, silencing the Scud threat and securing the coalition's dominance of the skies. Yet, even as the Scud menace was being contained, the coalition's air campaign was far from over, for the Iraqi military still possessed a hidden trump card, one that would soon test the coalition's air power in a most unexpected way. As the Scud threat receded, the coalition's air campaign refocused on dismantling the Iraqi military's command and control structures, targeting key nodes in the enemy's communication networks, and crippling the Iraqi Air Force's ability to respond. The relentless tempo of coalition air operations, with waves of sorties launched around the clock, left the Iraqi military reeling, its defenses breached, its will to resist beginning to crumble. Amidst the chaos, Iraqi commanders struggled to maintain a semblance of order, their decisions hampered by the coalition's dominance of the electromagnetic spectrum, as AWACS aircraft and signals intelligence platforms monitored their every move, intercepting and decoding their communications. The Iraqi military's attempts to adapt, to find new ways to counter the coalition's air power, were consistently thwarted by the coalition's technological superiority, as precision-guided munitions and advanced sensors allowed coalition aircraft to strike with unerring accuracy, even in the most challenging environments. With their air defenses shattered, their command structures in disarray, the Iraqi military teetered on the brink of collapse, its ability to resist the coalition's ground assault, scheduled to begin in mere days, rapidly eroding. As the clock ticked down, the coalition's air campaign stood poised to deliver the coup de grace, to shatter the Iraqi military's remaining strongpoints, and pave the way for a decisive victory. As the final hours of the air campaign ticked away, the coalition's airmen and airwomen stood ready to unleash a devastating onslaught, one that would leave the Iraqi military in ruins, its will to resist utterly broken. The stakes were high, the urgency palpable, as the world watched with bated breath, waiting to see if the coalition's bold gamble would pay off. For the Iraqi people, the consequences of defeat would be dire, their country's future hanging precariously in the balance. But for the coalition, the prize was within reach, a swift and decisive victory that would vindicate the bravery and skill of their airmen, and validate the billions of dollars invested in the world's most advanced air power. As the clock struck the appointed hour, the coalition's aircraft roared into action, their engines thundering as they unleashed a maelstrom of steel and fire upon the Iraqi military's shattered defenses. The outcome was all but certain, the die cast, the fate of Kuwait sealed. And yet, even as the Iraqi military teetered on the brink of collapse, the coalition's airmen remained vigilant, their focus fixed on the task at hand, their determination unwavering.